Hey guys, today I'm doing another deck spotlight where one of you sends me in a deck. I go over it, critique it, just kind of talk about it and give my initial impressions and opinions on it. Today we're taking a look at Kiba's Mecha Phantom Beast deck. I'm very familiar with this deck type, so I do know a lot of the things he's trying to do and kind of what should work for the deck. And he is doing some interesting things, so I will talk about kind of his choices and kind of how they work out with the deck type. So first off, he's running 3 Mathematician in this deck, helping him send Lion to the graveyard. I feel like 3 is maybe a bit much for this deck. Might want to stick with just 2 because of, the limited amount of sends that you're going to need for this deck, especially because you're only running one Hamstrat. So one Hamstrat, I feel like Hamstrat should be run at 2 or 3. I feel like it's pretty important for this deck. It generates tokens, it also summons from the graveyard. But you're also not running Cold Wings, so it kind of doesn't make it as powerful there. But it really has some powerful combinations that you can do, and I really like, running Hamstrat at more. And then he's running 3 Heraldard. Pretty nice to have this at 2 or 3. Can be a very effective card for this deck. 3 Lion, I think Lion's a really great card for this deck. Just has a lot of really great effects, so I really think that 3 is pretty normal for this and probably should run 3 no matter what. And then 3 Tetherwolf, one of the main beaters of this deck, helping you generate tokens and bring out a decent monster that has, this 2500 attack potentially. So I do think Tetherwolf should generally be run at 3, so I do agree with that. Then he's running 3 Tour Guides and 1 Skarm, so I'm just going to say this, I really don't know what this is doing here in this deck other than just having a rank 3 engine. I don't see it helping you do anything you're trying to do with this deck. You can't synchro summon with it. It doesn't really help you in any way to try to get out tokens or generate advantage from what you're trying to do. You could bring back a monster with like Levi or something or deal with back row, but again, I don't really see Tour Guide being so essential. I feel like you could run things that are more designed for this deck type. And then he's running 2 Draw Muscle, an interesting card from the OCG. I see this being effective with this deck because you can keep your tokens out, which can be very powerful for this deck type. And obviously, it gets you a card by itself, so it's definitely good. 1 Foolish Burial, kind of like Mathematician. Obvious in this deck is a good choice. Again, he might have too many sends in the deck, though, something to keep in mind. 2 MST, 1 Regeki, definitely fine for this deck. Dark Hole is also fine if you want to run both of them because of your protection that you have. 3 Scapegoat. So Scapegoat versus Fires of Doomsday is kind of a big debate. I prefer Fires of Doomsday because you can't, activate Scapegoat when you have, 2 monsters on the field, and you won't be able to generate tokens to, do some big advantage plays. So I prefer Fires of Doomsday, but it's really up to you. 1 Soul Charge, obvious, great card to use. 3 Supply Squad. Supply Squad is a really good card for Mecha Phantom Beast, so definitely running this at 2 or 3 is fine. 3 might be a bit much, but it's obviously a really good card for a deck like this that can put a lot on the field. And then a lot of staple traps, one call the Haunted. 3 Fiendish Chain might be a bit much, but some people do run 3 because they really want to deal with effects. You can also run Effect Veiler and combine with Synchros, but it's just up to you what you want to do with that. I'm pretty surprised that you're not running Torrential Tribute because it's a really great card, and also you have monsters that can protect themselves from being destroyed. So I think you should really add in Torrential if you're able to. So now for his extra deck, he's going to be running, a lot of similar things that I do, so not a lot of issues I have with this. Obviously, level 5s are easy to make with this deck. Catastor, Armides, Goyo, again, you can get that out pretty easily. He's also running the new Synchro, which I'm not really sure how to pronounce. Jack Rustlin, maybe. It's level 9. It's a very powerful card, and I do think it's nice to run this at 1 or 2 because it can really do some really crazy stuff with your opponent's hand, and this can really win you some nice games. So I think this could be a powerful card, and I'm definitely going to run it when it does come out. And you can make this with some of the things that you're trying to do in the deck type, depending on how you're setting it up. And then 1 Scrap Dragon. You might want to consider running more than just Scrap Dragon, so you have another, choice. Scrap Dragon's a great card for this deck, but also maybe Stardust or Crimson Blader if you are able to put that in your extra deck. For his XYZs, Exciton, Gear Gigant, Alucard, Leviar with his Tour Guide. Again, I don't think Tour Guide's completely necessary, but obviously he's going to run rank 3s. Chidori, obviously with this deck, very nice. 2 Dracosac, pretty much staple at 2. I agree with that choice. 1 Big Eye, again, pretty much staple at 1. Gustav, you could run it at 1 or 2. 1 is also fine. Zen Mains, again, with his rank 3 stuff. That's definitely fine. If he was running more Hamstrap, but he also has Mathematician, so he can make it that way. But obviously he has this rank 3 engine with Tour Guide, so that's kind of how he's going to bring out rank 3s. But again, that's something I don't really agree with. So overall, I really do like the deck. There's a few things that I had some disagreements with, or I chose to run other things instead. I feel like you could run, more cards that aim on really trying to get the deck stronger in specific things and not just throw in kind of more random tech. Like Tour Guide, I think is kind of random tech. But I feel like you're doing, really what you need to do with the extra deck. You have mostly cards that really make the deck consistent and make it work, and you're not running too much that really runs in the way of your playstyle, which I could see this deck being very powerful when it's played correctly and using all the support and other things that you do have access to. There are some cards I do want to mention. I think Cold Wing can be very powerful in combination with certain other cards. If you're running more Hamstrat, maybe, I think Cold Wing is very nice. Fires of Doomsday, as I was saying, I think limiter removal can be very powerful for this deck type, but not everyone runs it, so I can understand. Scramble is also a choice card, but I feel like one is nice to have in this deck. I'm surprised you're not running Aerial Recharge because that can give you some nice token generation that doesn't cost a lot of slots like Scapegoat, but it's up to you. Like I was saying, another Synchro could be helpful, like another 8. Tarantula, like I was saying, if you took out maybe some of your threes, you can put in something like Silent Honor, which, is very useful nowadays, so you might want to consider putting like one of those in your deck. But those are just my few initial thoughts. Not really much he has to change with this deck. It actually does look very good. Just, a few things you might want to mix around. But thank you to Kiba for the deck submission. If you guys do have a deck you want me to take a look at, you can contact me, on Twitter, on Skype, send me a deck list or a picture. I'd definitely be happy to go over it and show it off on my channel. But that's about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.